Car payments are one of the biggest traps keeping Americans poor. Now, they look normal on the surface, but they quietly bleed away freedom and wealth. And here's how. Number one, the true cost is way higher than the sticker price. So, of course, you go to a dealership, right? And you see that they have all of these different cars. And even someone recently I had a conversation with was mentioning, man, currently right now I don't own one, right? And the idea was that, okay, you should go and buy one so that you can travel around more, kind of see what's going on. But immediately I realized that the true cost is way higher than the sticker, right? Now, the average car payment is around $700 a month today. And what does that also include, right? So you have the car payment, right? Ideally, you probably put a down payment on the car, and then you still have to pay a monthly amount that you owe. Now, you can add insurance, gas, and maintenance. And what are we looking at? We're looking at over closer to $1,000 a month. Now, over a 5-year time period, that's $60,000 gone. Now, imagine if you took that 60,000 and invested some of that money. That return is going to be way more, right? And we're talking about something that is a liability, right? Most people are not renting their car out to other places on Turo or any of these different platforms, right? They're just using it to get around. Now, of course, if someone's in a financial position where they don't really need to worry about that, that's one thing, but we're literally talking about $60,000. And imagine if that 60,000 went into either stocks, right? You get a 7% return there, or even real estate, right? You think real estate as well, or just these different areas that you could put that money into, right? Imagine the type of return that you could get, right? So if we say 60,000 and we multiply that by a 7% return, right? $4,200. That's per year that we're talking about, right? Per year. So it's a lot of money. And then if we multiply that by 5 years, 21K, right? You could have made in the stock market just like that. But you were so focused on, what that sticker price was, you didn't think of long term. And especially if you can have a successful business and invest $60,000, if you're running ads, that is a lot of money to invest that could for sure generate an insane ROI. Now, number two, cars are guaranteed to lose value. And this is a big one, right? Because when you drive off of the lot, and this was kind of the mindset that I was thinking as well. When I drive off of the lot, let's say I buy that car, I drive off the lot, literally, it's already going to depreciate in value. Now, some cars, of course, don't depreciate, but the majority will depreciate, right? Unless you're buying some really specific type of car that holds value, right, which most don't, you're going to lose half that value in maybe 5 years, and you're making payments on something that's literally worth less every single month. So you bought it at a sticker price, you're paying for a liability that is literally decreasing in value the more that you drive it. And that's why you really have to be careful, because it from the surface, it looks good, right? I'll be able to get around faster, but you have to think of what comes with it on the back end, right? It's not as simple as just, oh, this is going to be, the car and that's it, right? There's more to it. Now, number three, we talk about payments lock you into lifestyle debt, right? So it's not just, right, we talked about it, $1,000, right? It's literally, we're talking about the monthly expenses that you have that it costs you to live, right? Now, let's say someone's rent is $1,000, right? You have to buy food every month. Let's say you're spending around $300, just for an example, right? So you have rent plus food, $1,300. Then you have an additional car payment of plus insurance and all of that, which let's put it at $1,000. So literally $2,300. You basically just doubled the amount of money you need to make monthly just to survive, just to be baseline, right? And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize, is that the cost of living and what you require. And I'm not saying, some people do need cars, right? And you have to do what you have to do, but again, that long-term value in terms of how much money you're putting into that car, plus it's losing value, and you just doubled your monthly basically baseline that you need to survive is insane, right? But you see how quickly it adds up, and obviously dealerships in these places are not going to tell you these things because they want you to buy the car. Now, I'm not anti-car, but you have to think about what does it actually look like if I do purchase this car, and why are so many people, right? You have to think the majority of people are not looking to really build wealth, make a ton of money, and even if they are, they're not going to do what is actually necessary, right? What it actually takes. So you have all of this literally these expenses, and you're making your life much harder, right? So you want to make your life easier, right? And if you need a car, right, you have to get it, but don't go ball out, right? Don't get some crazy expensive car payment that is going to make your life 10 times harder when maybe you could have just for a short period of time maybe went without the car, made some more money to where it's not even a huge problem for you because you did what you had to do to get out of that situation, right? And to some people that are really making a crazy amount, right, or a decent amount, it wouldn't even be a huge factor. But obviously, if you're watching this, you're interested in learning about finances, making more money, online business, entrepreneurship, and if you're interested in that, you should click the link down below where I built out an entire course teaching people how I grow and scaled YouTube channels. I've generated over 50 million plus views on YouTube and even generated over 6 figures in my early 20s. So if you're interested in learning more about growing an online YouTube business, click the link in the description down below. Now, number 4, financing tricks you to stay stuck longer. And this is one of those tricks, right, where, right, the whole goal, right, of when you finance something is they want to make money off of you. They want to make a profit off of you. So they're going to allow you to take this car off the lot today. But what happens is sometimes they stretch some of these loans, right? Maybe 72 months, 84 months, but they stretch it out to a long period of time. And, they try to work the numbers for you so that you can maybe get a shorter pay, a smaller monthly payment. So let's say even if they do get your monthly payment down, what happens is, right, you're literally paying more in the long term because, of course, you have to pay interest plus the principal, right? So it's going to be what you actually bought the car for plus the amount of interest that you're going to owe on that amount, right? And when you stretch out that payment, you end up paying for not only a depreciating asset, right? So your asset was worth this much, you drove it off the lot, it went down, but you also have this interest amount that you have to pay. So the gap is just becoming even crazier. And especially if you multiply that by the longer period of time, the gap that you're paying for and what it's actually worth just gets crazier and crazier over time, right? So you really have to think about the time period and just financially, does it actually make sense for you to buy a car at X price, right? And by the time you're close to being done, you've already pretty much paid just an insane amount more than what it was actually worth, right? Now, number 5, it kills your ability to build wealth. Now, again, $700 a month, right? That invested can make you millions over the years. And instead, what most people do is they take that money and they put it into something that is going to decrease in value. Now, every car upgrade is really a downgrade in your net worth. And now, unless you're using this for promotion, or you're some sort of online guru or something like that, or you have some sort of car business, for the majority of people it is a liability. And what is a liability? It's something that takes money out of your pocket. So you have to remember that you want to buy assets, things that put money into your pocket, and avoid the liabilities, things that take money out of your pocket. Now, number 6, social pressure keeps this cycle alive. And this is a tough one, right? Because the pressure that you have from other people, like I mentioned in my story earlier, right? Someone was mentioning who had a car, was asking me if I was going to get one. Now, a lot of times, right, people don't realize that, you literally can make your financial situation so much harder for yourself when you dig yourself into that hole and you look around and you see what he has, what she has, and you get so caught up in what other people have that you mess up your financial situation in order to try to impress those people, right? To live a life that it looks good on the outside, but inside, oh, you're struggling to pay your rent, struggling to pay your car payment, all of these things where if you really took inventory and thought for a second, especially with all the resources that are out today, does it make sense to financially invest in this, right? Because that's how you should look at it. What's the type of ROI that I'm getting from this? What's the benefit? Do I actually need it? Do I don't need it? And obviously, you have different priorities depending on where you are in life, but we normalize debt a lot of times as, it's a badge of honor, but you need to be careful, right? You have to make sure that you can pay that back, and you have to think about, is it actually worth what I'm paying for, right? And in reality, it's one of the number one reasons why people stay stuck because they look around at what the next person is doing instead of using these financial principles actually to learn financial literacy and make sure that over a long period of time that they're in a better financial situation. Now, if you're interested in learning more about these type of topics, click this video on the screen now.